Yo, yo, what's going on, my fellow wrestling fans? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of Campeons, where we talk about the different news, controversies, and storylines that surround this crazy ass motherfucking world we know and love as professional wrestling. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, aka the Professor in the Flesh, as always. And my co host needs no introduction, but he is going to give y'all one anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. This is his tag team partner, Jonathan Randall, at your guys' service, the adventurer himself, the Mr. Life of the Party, and welcome to our wrestling podcast, this soap opera that we like to discuss about. Kurt, how you been? I know it's been a while since we talked. We haven't talked since the King and Queen of the Ring. You could look back on our archives and our past episodes and other episodes we've done over in the past, but it's been a while since we talked to you guys. How you been, Kurt?
Been pretty good. I might have some potential changes coming in the next few months, which I'll talk about at another time, but I have that going on in my life. Also, I've been still hard at work on my disses. I even dissed Hulk Hogan in one of the most recent ones I wrote. That's going to be coming out soon.
I saw that you were
Also,
dissing the modern female rappers right now.
yes, I did drop that disc today. Yeah, that's kind of like directed, like, to the very stereotypical ones, like the Ice Spices and Sexy Red, which we'll actually talk about later on the show. Like those type
Right.
of modern female rappers, which we've been critical on the show on before. Yeah, I kind of had to let them have it a little bit. But I will say that was one of the more mild ones I've done in the last few weeks. That one wasn't as vicious as some of the other ones I've been doing.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah, so I've had that going on. I still need to go see Bad Boys 4. I've been meaning to go see that, but I haven't gotten the chance to do it yet. I'll probably see it this weekend.
Hopefully too. I was supposed to go see it with my girlfriend last weekend, though, but she hasn't been feeling well. She's been, sick,
Mm.
so hopefully we'll see it this weekend though. But yeah, I've been hearing good things about it. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
made a lot of damn money. Yeah, I made a lot of
yeah.
fucking money.
Oh yeah,
And it's so crazy. Yeah, the first Bad Boys next year will be the 30-year anniversary of.
I
And yo,
know.
like this far along later, they're still doing work.
I know. Like that's crazy, man. I want to rewatch the first one actually.
First
So
one still holds up. To be
it
honest, the
does.
second one I'm not a fan of. The second one I've never really been that crazy about.
That's funny though because I like I like both the first one and the second one. Um, my girlfriend loves the second one. It feels like most of my friends or people who I run into, they always say they like the second one. So
Nah, and in my opinion, I thought it was too damn long for one, and just the plot of it wasn't really that interesting. It had its funny parts. Don't get me wrong; it had a lot of funny parts, and there was some cool shit about it. But it definitely wasn't better than the first one, or even the third one. I personally enjoyed the third one.
hmm. I like the third one too. I gotta rewatch. I watched the third one by twice, but it's been a while though. So, but it's the
It,
first one I really want to like sit down and watch again. So
you know what's funny about the third one?
what?
The third one is the only of the Bad Boys that I've ever seen in theaters, and also it was the last movie I would see in theaters before COVID.
Yeah, you're right because I think that movie came out like in January, right? Yeah,
Of 2020. Yeah, it came out literally like 2 months before COVID
yeah.
happened. That would be the last movie I would see in theaters for over a year and a half.
Wow.
Oh, speaking of movies, I saw that you saw Iron Claw.
Yeah, I finally saw Iron Claw.
What did you think?
Very good movie. I just it is a sad movie, man. It's pretty sad
Ooh.
what happens. The ending choked me up. I just didn't like how Ric Flair was represented in that movie because man,
Yeah,
he could have did a better job.
yeah, that
Oh
portrayal.
man,
Yeah,
it was kind of that portrayal of Ric Flair kind of made me cringe a little bit. I was like, oh man, they could have did a way better job getting Ric Flair. Um,
yeah, yeah. It sucked. I'm
Getting
not gonna
somebody to
lie.
portray Ric Flair, man. Everything else they did a perfect job on that. And I don't know if I said this before, but when you see that kind of movie, you kind of have that be hopeful that in the future, you know what, they could make more wrestling movies. You know what I mean? So it was a very good movie. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I saw it on Christmas Day in the theaters. The thing I would say about it is that it probably maybe could have been a little longer. I feel like there were certain things that they left
Mm,
out. And there was
mm.
actually another brother that died that for whatever reason they left out of the movie.
Which one?
Chris Von Erich. Chris Von Erich. He was the kind of the youngest one. He like always wanted to be a wrestler, but he wasn't like really big and athletic like his brothers were, and that really messed him up.
Oh, him.
Yeah, they
Right.
didn't because you probably watched that world class documentary that WWE put out all those years ago. Yeah, they talked about the whole family. They pretty much talked about all everything that happened in the movie in that documentary. So that's why, like when I watched the movie, like I pretty much knew everything that was gonna happen before it happened.
Mm,
Like when David Von Erich was sick at the wedding, like when he was sick and having the stomach problems, I'm like, oh shit, I know exactly what's about to happen now.
yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah,
If I'm being quite honest with you, I didn't know what happened either because I never really, dive deep into, that family and, just deeply into that, so, but just when I read about it, I was like, man, I was like, holy crap. I was like I said, the ending was like, kind of like before the end credits, it was very heartfelt because they talk about, oh yeah, Kerry got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then him and his wife are still married for 40 years, and then they have a ranch where all of their their grandchildren live. I thought that's neat, so
yeah. The part that got to me is like after Kerry Von Erich kills himself, they show him like reuniting with his brothers again. That part really got to
yeah.
me. Because yeah, I always heard Bret Hart tell that story when like Kevin Von Erich and him would have conversations. Kevin Von Erich would tell him like, "Yo, my brothers are calling me, and I feel like I need to go to them," which is scary as
Mm,
shit. But like looking at
yeah.
that scene, yeah, that. But that's one thing I will say. I feel like they should have included like a conversation like that in the movie, so that scene would have hit harder. Because that's why I felt that scene so much was because of knowing that beforehand.
Yeah.
And also that line at the end where like Kevin Von Erich says, "I used to have five brothers, and now I'm not even a brother."
That
And
was the part that choked me up.
and then his sons were like, "Yo, I'll be your brother. I'll be your brother." Yeah, I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
man. Like I literally walked out of the theater with tears in my eyes when that movie was over. Yeah, I was like openly weeping. I didn't give a fuck though, but yeah, I was openly weeping.
Wow.
Yeah, it's some sad shit, man. Like wrestling in many ways gets you like with the happy moments, but shit like this, especially portrayed on screen in a movie, yeah, it really messes with you. It really breaks your heart. Yeah, it really just breaks your heart.
Yeah. I believe that, man. When you have a certain connection to to something, I mean, stuff like that is gonna get you, rather if it's positive or negative, is gonna get to you.
And I hope you know that Kerry Von Erich didn't get into that car accident where he had his like leg amputated like the night he won the title. That actually happened 2 years later.
That's weird because
The way they portrayed it in the movie, it seemed like it happened the same night.
right. Yeah, that's why I was like, wow, like the you know what I mean? He wins the title, and yeah, that's crazy. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Wow.
But he did have a short title reign. His title reign didn't last any longer than 3 weeks.
Mhm. Crazy. He went to the WWE and his like that. His leg that's wow.
Yeah, they show that footage from SummerSlam '90 in the movie when he wins
Yeah.
the IC
That's
title.
one of the things that I liked about the movie because they show like if they show like one of the family members watching wrestling, they'll actually will show the actual footage of them watching. When they're watching it on TV, they'll actually show the actual footage. And I was like, I thought that was neat. I was like, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, but even in real life, learning about the stuff that happened with Kerry Von Erich, like towards the end, like at the end of his WWE run, and then like when he ended up killing himself not too long afterwards, yeah,
Yeah.
that shit was just sad. Like they even go back and watch like old house shows from WWE from like back, like I guess like in the beginning of '92, and like they're just like dissecting Kerry Von Erich's performance and just how he looks. And yeah, you could definitely tell that something wasn't right.
Now, see, now I gotta look at that now closely.
Even his Intercontinental title reign, it only lasted 3 months.
Mm,
They probably saw early on that he wasn't reliable to be a champion and to be in that spot, so that's why they gave it back to Perfect.
wow.
Yeah, too bad, man. Very sad story, but at least Kevin survived all of that and didn't become a statistic, and he still seems to be living a happy and fruitful life. So in that sense, it's a happy ending. But one person who I know is gonna be hoping and praying for a happy ending this coming Saturday is one Drew McIntyre, as he will challenge for the World Heavyweight title this Saturday at Clash of the Castle. And with that being said, let's get into our predictions for the show. It's going to be Saturday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, my time, 11 o'clock a.m. your time, from Glasgow, Scotland. It will not be in a stadium like the last Clash of the Castle was. It will be in a regular arena. But with
Mm.
how lit these fucking crowds in Europe are, I don't think we are going to have any issues as far as
Oh no.
crowd enthusiasm and as far as like making the place feel like it's a special venue.
And you know what? By looking at this card, looks pretty decent.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's also another short card. There's only 5 matches as of now.
Yep.
There might be maybe one more match added between now and Saturday, maybe on the pre-show. But as it stands, there are only 5 matches. And in one match, I think is going to open the show, where you're going to have for the WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes defending the title in a rematch against AJ Styles.
In an I Quit match.
Yes, in an I Quit match. And since the last time we spoke to you guys 2 weeks ago, AJ Styles was teasing a retirement on SmackDown. He came out with his suit talking about how like he finally got to go to his son's graduation the week before, and it made him like think about like everything that he's missed and how maybe it's time for him to call it a day and retire. And then he called out Cody Rhodes to be a part of the speech. He was like telling Cody thank you and also telling everybody else thank you and basically really selling the fact that he's calling it quits. Yeah, and then him and Cody are raising each other's hands, and pretty much I know myself, I could see what was going to happen from a mile away, and lo and behold, it happened. AJ and Cody were raising each other's hands. AJ Styles clocked the shit out of Cody Rhodes with a clothesline, beat the hell out of him, and hit him with a Styles Clash from the steps onto the floor. And yes, this segment was very reminiscent of the Mark Henry fake retirement from 2013, minus the
Crazy.
Salmon Blazer.
Right. The salmon
But he had the
blazer.
sky blue blazer, so it still looked cool
Right.
anyway.
Right. Dude, that is just so crazy when that whole sequence happened. You're just I mean I think I don't know. I think after their match that they had at Backlash, I kind of said to myself I wanted to continue a little bit longer, and I was right. That's good, because they had one hell of a match at that show at Backlash. So I think this one will be no different, or maybe even better. Now the stakes are even higher. You're in an I Quit match now, and
Yes, the stakes are higher. I'm happy they're running this
yeah,
back again. I think there's two reasons why they didn't do it for King and Queen of the Ring, and that was probably because one, they probably wanted to have Logan Paul in that spot because he's a bigger name, and for
mm,
two, AJ maybe wanted to take time off to, like he said, be like at his son's graduation and do all the family stuff.
gotcha. And just to play around for the storyline, which is good. I understand, makes sense.
If it was just a regular one-on-one match, I would say it would be a disqualification finish, and then that would lead to another rematch at Money in the Bank. But now that it's an I Quit match, I'm
Then
not so
it's over.
sure. I'm not so sure how exactly this is gonna end, or like how they're gonna play off the ending.
Um, Look, I definitely have Cody winning. I think will be it. I think this will be it moving forward between the both of them.
I could see that, but I'm just trying to think of who would Cody's challenger at the next pay per view be. I'm
After,
sorry, yeah, at the next PLE.
yeah,
Yeah,
that is a big that's a big question. It's funny because in our last episode we did talk about potential. I mean, who could be a potential opponent for him at SummerSlam? But before we get to SummerSlam, we got to get the Money in the Bank first. So we really didn't dive deep into that.
yeah, because I would say the only big match I could see him doing at SummerSlam if The Rock doesn't come back, which he doesn't really look like he's coming back for, is Randy Orton. Because like who else is there on that SmackDown roster unless they move some people from Raw to SmackDown? Yeah, there's like nobody really
Right.
that credible in that spot.
Yeah, and they're not going to do the rematch between Gunther and Randy Orton, are they?
Not right now. I think Randy Orton's probably hurt.
Oh, okay. Maybe wait, huh? Yeah, yeah.
he hasn't been on TV the last few weeks, so I think he's hurt. But as far as this match goes, since it is an I Quit match, I think Cody's gonna retain, especially how AJ turned on him and fooled him that way with the retirement or
Yeah,
phony retirement. Yeah, I think
yeah,
it's gonna come down to Cody retaining
yeah,
once again.
definitely.
Yeah, did you like that angle? Did you believe at all he was really gonna retire?
Oh no, I mean, like, look, when you kind of see stuff like that, you kind of gotta look at the bigger, just kind of, think about it. Like, man, is it they're really gonna, do it like this? It didn't really surprise me at all, in a way. I mean, I like the surprise element to it. Is it creative? Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, it was like, you know what, this is on a creative aspect, yes. But did I love it? Yeah. But I mean, did it really surprise me at all? I mean, in a shocking way, I'm like, oh my god, like, this is, like, oh my god, like, this is crazy. But at the same time, like I'm trying to tell you and everybody else, the suspense to it, yeah, the creativity, yeah, I loved it.
But I will say the Mark Henry one, I actually bought that one. That one, I like really thought he was like really done.
Because he got emotional. There was emotion into it.
Yeah, when he was talking about like his daughter and like how his daughter cries like whenever he leaves for a road trip. Yeah, like he really sold the
Mhm.
shit out of it. And then when he turned on Cena, I'm like, oh shit, he really got us. And then he even said that Vince offered for him to win the title in that feud, but then he said that he didn't want to do it because of all the extra, appearances he would have to do.
Oh.
Which in hindsight was smart because then Cena ended up losing the belt to Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam the next month.
Mhm.
But yeah, so Cody retains the title in this match. I think it'll still be dope. I don't know how well they're gonna be able to top their match from Backlash, but I look forward to seeing how they try to.
I think on the violence aspect, I think they will raise the bar. You got to remember the match that they had at Backlash was more like a technical wrestling style match. That's why it was so good. But I think on a violence factor for this match, it will be topped.
I'll make the Bret Hart and Steve Austin feud comparison with this, like where their match at Backlash was like the Bret Hart and Austin match from Survivor Series, and this coming match is gonna be like the Bret Hart and Austin submission match from WrestleMania.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they pulled off. I do think the match is probably going to open the show. I don't think it's going on last.
Hmm.
But we'll get into the match, which I do believe will be going on last later. But let's run down the rest of the card. As for
Yes.
the WWE Women's Championship, we have Bayley defending against Piper Niven, and Piper Niven's home country, no less.
Okay. Um, this is good for her, but um, I don't know. I have Bailey winning.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's a good spot for
Yeah.
her to be in. It'll be a great moment for her to wrestle in front of her home country in a championship match on a big show. But realistically, so she is not walking out with that title. Bailey retains, and Bailey is on a collision course with Nia Jax at SummerSlam.
Yes.
And Piper Niven just another stop on that road.
Right.
But I think the match will still be solid. I'm looking forward to, seeing what Piper Niven can do on a big event like this, like being in a singles match for a title. Because I remember she really impressed me a lot in the Mae Young Classic. Like that's when I like first really noticed her. And then when they brought her to the main roster, they didn't really, use her to her full potential.
Hmm. This is a good, spotlight for her to be in. So
So yes, Bailey will retain. But let's move on to our next match as we're going to have a triple threat for the women's tag team titles. As we have the champions, the female version of the Mega Powers, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, will be defending their titles against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, as well as Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. And I think we know how this match ends.
yeah, you just put the tag titles on Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, so there's no need to, especially in that kind of stipulation in a match like that, a triple threat tag team match. I mean, I could get if it was just regular tag team match. You know what I mean? No, but I No, you're gonna just keep the belts on Bianca and Cargill.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that they're retaining.
Yeah.
They have too much momentum right now. They have literally just
Oh
won the
yeah.
belts a few weeks ago. And yeah, and they play really well off of each other. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy their tag team. Yeah, their tag team has been entertaining with like their matching outfits, their like secret handshake that they do, and their double team moves. Also, their tag team offense is on point. Like this tag team so far has been a success, and this is probably the best thing that Jay could have had in her first few months. This is definitely going to do her a lot of good, and it's been doing her a lot of good.
Man, I'm just wondering how it's going to turn out, later down in the future because, eventually, something's going to happen though. But I said this before, just enjoy the ride for these two, So them being tag team champions is really good. So
I know their split is inevitable. They're eventually going to break up. I don't doubt that at all. But for the time being, I'm loving their tag team. I'm super entertained by it,
hmm
and they are not losing those belts, and they should not lose those belts.
they need each other.
Yeah, definitely. And they're going to run through both of these teams, retain their titles, and we'll see what goes on with them from that point on. But let's move on with the rest of the show for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm looking forward to
Mm.
this one. We have Sami Zayn defending against everyone's least favorite teacher, least favorite motivational speaker, I guess you want to say, the inconsiderate prick, Chad Gable.
Wow, so you got a nickname for him now.
Yes.
Um, I feel like this card is just like you know, kind of similar to Backlash, where you're just like on card, on paper, you know, they look good, but you just kind of already know, like, okay, this person's going to win and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's over between these two. But Sami Zayn is going to retain.
I disagree.
Really?
If Sami Zayn by some miracle does retain, it's going to be by some kind of disqualification or fluke finish because Chad Gable cannot lose this match by pinfall or submission. If he ends up losing, it has to be some kind of controversial finish because if he
That,
loses again, it's a wrap.
well, I mean, here's the thing, though. I think that the ending will extend this feud. I don't see Chad Gable winning this match at this event. Maybe at the next pay per view, premium live event, but not at this one. I just think that I don't know. Just I can't see him winning at this event. Maybe it was at a different event. Yeah, but not at this one.
I could see maybe a situation where he like really starts to mess with Otis and he really starts to get into Otis's face and like Otis finally has enough and he snaps and then he attacks Chad Gable and I guess maybe that causes the disqualification
Mhm.
and then yeah they can do the rematch at Money in the Bank, but Chad Gable can't lose by getting pinned in this scenario. I'm
No, that's why I think there's a the finish will be there's going to be a finish that's going to cause some controversy that's going to extend the feud.
yeah I could definitely see that happening, but there is a chance I think he could win. I feel like maybe there could be a scenario where maybe Otis snaps and he has enough and he's about to attack Chad Gable, but then he does something to Sami Zayn by mistake and that allows Chad Gable to win. I could, yeah, definitely see that being the finish. Yeah, that could definitely happen.
Feel you,
But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be some kind of disqualification that like extends it to Money in the Bank. I definitely think it's going to be kind of like that kind of finish.
man. I mean, that's what I think. Like, I don't see the feud. I don't see the feud ending.
Yeah, this is like the best storyline on Raw right now, besides the Dominik and Liv Morgan stuff.
Which we'll get into later. Oh my god. Oh man, there's just so much that's been going on since the last time me and Curtis spoke to you guys. But
Yes,
there's everything, there's always something going on. But this is just madness, which we'll get into later. So
yeah, but I see Sami Zayn somehow retaining, but not necessarily by beating Chad Gable, and the feud is going to extend to Money in the Bank. But
I
but
agree.
regardless of how this goes down, Chad Gable cannot lose to Sami Zayn. And it was funny, Chad Gable's contract apparently expired last week.
Yeah, I was hearing about that.
Yeah, but from what came out the other day, it looks like he's like really close to re-signing, or and he
Hmm.
possibly maybe sign an extension to do Clash at the Castle. But I really hope he does re-sign because like he's in the best position he's probably ever been in the entire time he's been in WWE.
Yeah, especially what's been going on now. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's this close to getting a singles title. I feel like now is not a good time for him to leave.
No, no.
I think ultimately he will stay. I feel like what he's doing right now is like too good for him to walk away from. So even if he
Mm,
could, make good money on the independents and like doing stuff on his own, I feel like the situation he's in right now is too good of a situation to walk away from.
right. He came close to winning the title against Gunther, though, but I think this is his best opportunity. His closest opportunity now is to win it. So he has a perfect opportunity in front of him right now. So,
He's gonna get it. He's gonna get it at some point. If he
yeah,
doesn't get it on Saturday, he's gonna get it at the next pay per view.
I agree.
So with that being said, we have the main events as Damian Priest, El Champion. He will defend against the man who he cashed in his Money in the Bank contract on at WrestleMania to win the title. The hometown boy, the home country boy at that, Drew McIntyre. John Randall's favorite person in the whole world,
Oh, God, whatever.
next to Sexy Red.
What?
Bent that ass
I
over.
don't like
Make that
people.
coochie
Stop it.
breathe.
Stop. For somebody who's in jail, yeah.
She's not in jail. She got arrested for like a minor offense and she was released right after.
Yeah, still, but she was in jail, so it's nothing new for her. But anyway,
Go on.
this will be a great match. This is um a match that I've been waiting for to happen ever since WrestleMania because you saw what happened. Drew wins the title, and then because of CM Punk, that's when Damian Priest, cash in on his opportunity. So yeah, they have them two need to have that collision. So it's perfect. But I know everybody's saying, "Whoa, well, John, Drew McIntyre last time he was at Clash of the Castle, he almost had an opportunity and he won." I'm like, true, but the same thing is going to happen. He's going to come close to winning, but then guess what? CM Punk is going to interfere, going to cost him the match. Damian Priest is going to retain the title, and I think this is going to be Damian Priest's biggest so far at this moment. This is going to be like one of his biggest title defenses. So I have Damian Priest retaining the title, but CM Punk will interfere to cost Drew McIntyre the match.
I think that will happen. I agree with you, especially after Drew McIntyre beat Finn Balor on Raw Monday to ban Judgment Day from ringside for the match. Since they're
Mm,
banned from ringside, I feel like CM Punk is going to find his way to interfere and screw
yep.
Drew McIntyre once again and let Damian Priest retain the title. And fingers crossed, this will start to build to McIntyre and Punk for SummerSlam.
Yes.
And you know what's funny? You know what today is?
June 12th.
Yes, it is June 12th, but today is the 10-year anniversary of when Drew McIntyre got released by WWE.
Oh, you said 10 years?
Yes.
Holy crap. Wow.
He put up a post today saying 10 years ago, when I was released, I wasn't even a part of the headline. And 10 years later, I am the headline.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, it's come full circle, man. Yeah. And he's been doing the best work of his career. And he's definitely going to be hugely popular come Saturday. That crowd is going to be major, major pro Drew McIntyre, no question about it. And when CM Punk screws him, I think CM Punk is going to need extra security to get the fuck out of there. He's going to need to sneak out of the arena in an ambulance like Iron Sheik used to do back in the day.
Screw that, dude. He's gonna get like a private jet or something like that. He's gonna.
Nah, they're gonna want to get up in that ass, bro. They're gonna want to get up in that ass. It's kind of like the Brett and Austin stuff, where I guess like McIntyre would be popular there, and Punk would be the hated person there, and then when they come to the states, it's the opposite. So yeah,
Mm.
I feel like we're gonna get that vibe in Glasgow this weekend.
Oh yeah,
But I'm not gonna lie, these pay-per-views aren't feeling like as big of a deal because there's like only 3 weeks to build in between. That's how like the last few have been.
I wished it would have been like just a little bit. Well, I get it. I mean, it's we're in the middle of the month though, but like I said, I kind of wish it was just a little bit longer just to create a little bit of a more of like a storyline between Damian and Drew. You know what I mean, and make it a bit personal because yeah, you got to remember, he did take the title from him. You know what I mean? They could have like build up on that a little bit more.
Yeah, but if Drew wins this match, I don't know who he goes against next or who is his next challenger before Gunther, if he makes it to Gunther.
Hmm. It's really question. It's not just for Damien, but also for Cody Rhodes. It's very kind of like questionable. Like who's going to be their opponents for SummerSlam? You know what I mean? Because I was saying before that, oh my God, Cody and Gunther, but you're telling me, well, Gunther's on Raw, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot about that. You know, um, and we really never dive deep down into who could be a potential opponent for Damien. There's no way in the world you could take the title off of Damien before SummerSlam. That makes zero sense. You know what I mean?
Well, they could. They could. Things like this have happened before.
But not all the time though. But it doesn't seem like it's like the right thing to do.
Yeah, because unless Punk can't do SummerSlam and they can't do the Punk and McIntyre match for SummerSlam, then I guess I can maybe see Drew winning the title here, and then it's Drew and Gunther at SummerSlam for the title. But
Hmm.
I'm gonna stick with my prediction. I think Punk interferes and Damian Priest finds a way to retain and continue to have a further dissolving of his relationship with Judgment Day.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Damian Priest and Zelina Vega were at the Puerto Rican Day parade over the weekend.
I saw that. I saw that. That was very neat.
Good shit. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah,
He always says representation matters.
that's what I'm telling you, dude. Just you from all minorities, man. When you're the champion, if you're of a minority, you're gonna be very well represented, man, and I love it.
Yeah, some good shit. And also, speaking of Judgment Day, one of the other very interesting storylines on Raw these last few weeks has been between Judgment Day member Dominik Mysterio and Liv Morgan, the new Women's
My
World
God.
Champion. Oh, and it has been
Ooh,
heating up big time. That one segment on Raw a little over a week ago when Liv Morgan was like cornering Dominic against the turnbuckle and she was like playing with his hair and he was like kind of smiling about it.
man.
And then she like liked pretty much like 100 of his pictures in a row on Instagram.
All of his posts, man. Just oh,
Yeah, literally like 100 posts, if not more. She liked every single last one. And then she was like waiting for him in the Judgment Day's dressing room, and he was like trying to kick her out, and she refused to
mm-hmm.
leave. And then she left for him her hotel room key. He wasn't really sure what to do with it. And the Judgment Day dudes were trying to like say that, yo, you can't do this. We got to take the key away. This is trouble. This is nothing but
Mm-hmm.
trouble. But somehow the key ended up disappearing.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think we all know where it went. I guess we'll probably find out about that soon enough because I feel like we're gonna get like a situation with this, like the same one we got with like Tori Wilson and Don Marie with their little hotel room
Oh
segment from a
God.
few years back.
All I know is I can't wait when Rhea Ripley comes back, which will be probably like around, like July.
Well, we don't know that for sure. We don't know that for sure. It could be longer.
I don't know. I haven't even heard any word about her recovery, how she's been doing right now. But I'm telling you, man, it's gonna boil down to SummerSlam. I can feel it.
It should. I hope it does, but there's no guarantees that she's gonna be back in
I
time
know.
for it. And also on Raw doing a 6-man tag. Liv Morgan came out as Judgment Day was in the match to like distract Dominik some more, and then she got on the apron, and then Zelina Vega knocked Liv Morgan off the apron, and she fell on top of Dominik, and then when she was on top of him, she was like touching him and feeling up on him up until Zelina Vega had to ruin it and attack her.
I saw that. That was that was so crazy. Oh, I'm telling you, man,
And then
this whole thing is just heating up between the two. I don't know how it's gonna end. I'm just telling you, when Rhea Ripley comes back, it's not gonna be pretty. I'm telling you that right now.
oh no, it's not.
No.
Like I said, bro, this storyline and the Chad Gable and Alpha Academy storyline has been the two best things on Raw the last like month or so.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. That, and then when you go on a SmackDown side, the whole, bloodline, story is getting interesting. And when you see that, you just know, dude, when Roman comes back, dude, I'm telling you right now, he's gonna get the biggest pop ever
And he's rumored to be back
by
sometime in
July.
July. Yeah, in July, like to build for
Yeah.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, and he's been working out a lot. He's been getting ripped, man, getting back in shape. So
Well, he
it's
was already ripped at WrestleMania. He looked incredible at WrestleMania.
oh yeah, though, but like he's been working out more though, just getting himself ready. He looks just, you know, pretty much a little better in shape how he was, before that though, but still. When he comes back, that pop is gonna be insane.
Or I look forward to it. Yeah, I mean, I still enjoy both shows, but I have to be honest, it's definitely felt a little colder since WrestleMania with all the people who've kind of been gone since then and been injured.
True. Yeah. After
Yeah,
WrestleMania is a bit little weird and odd. You know what I mean? They kind of just take their foot off the gas just a little bit, you know what I mean? But no, we've been getting interesting storylines and good matches, you know, since WrestleMania has been over, you know what I mean? So
yeah, but Dominic Mysterio has to be like the luckiest man in the world. He has his like real wife at
just pick
home.
both of them.
He had he has his like real legit wife at home, like his high school sweetheart. He has Rhea Ripley as his mommy, and he has Liv Morgan trying to fight for his affection.
Right.
Yeah, I liked what Liv Morgan said to him, like backstage when she was in the Judgment Day's room, saying, "Why would you want to settle for a woman who makes you call her mommy when you could be with a woman who will call you daddy?"
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm telling you, dude. This summer's gonna heat up, get hot, just like how it's hot here in Vegas right now. This weather has just been a torture right now. I don't know how the
Yeah,
weather is out there for you right now, though. But man, it's
it's not so bad. It was a little hotter today, but it's not so bad.
oh really like how like exactly like what is it in the late 70s or what?
It's like 80 degrees. It was 80 degrees
80?
today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh.
But one person who might not be a part of WWE's summer plans is Ricochet, as it came out this past weekend that he notified WWE that he will not be re-signing once his contract expires. And it looks like pretty much all of that was confirmed this past Monday on Raw from what we saw, as he was brutally attacked by Braun Breaker backstage. And Braun Breaker threw him headfirst into a truck, similar to what Kevin Nash did to Rey Mysterio back in 1996. And then he power slammed Ricochet on top of a car, breaking the glass in the process. And yo, this was one hell of a way to write the dude off if he is going to be done for good.
Dude.
Even Samantha Irvin was a part of it. They showed her reaction like as it was happening, and then she like was back there like crying. She was very upset, and like she went with him in the ambulance to leave the show, which actually led to Pat McAfee being the ring announcer for the main event. But yeah, crazy. What a fucking way to write the dude off.
I know,
Holy shit.
man. But
And Braun
what
Breaker's been a go
that,
ahead, go
that
ahead.
that's what I was about to get into. Like, look, let's I want to get into Braun Breaker a little bit, dude. Braun Breaker in ring he's been very phenomenal, man.
Yeah, this dude's a killer. I really like the way they've been using him ever since he like got traded to Raw, where he's just like pissed off because he wasn't in the King of the Ring tournament and he's just taking it out on everybody. He had that good match with Ilya Dragunov on Raw too before the Ricochet
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
That was a kick-ass match. Yeah, this dude is headed for big things, man. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
But
But like
damn,
the stuff that he be
I'm
doing on the top rope though, like that one move that he did.
Frankensteiner, the
Yeah, that
Frankensteiner.
yeah, that was crazy,
Yeah, he takes after his father and his uncle.
man.
But yeah, I'm kind of bummed that Ricochet is more than likely going to be leaving. I mean, there's a chance he could resign between
I,
now and when his contract's officially up. But from how he was written out of TV on Raw Monday, it doesn't really look good.
yeah, kind of sucks. I always loved him, man. Always liked that guy.
Yeah, his WWE run, I don't want to say was bad or was a failure, but I definitely feel, especially like in the early years when he was on the main roster, he wasn't used to his full potential.
You know what? You know, I, I think you know where I'm about to get into. I remember when he was U.S. champion, like in was it 2019. That title reign should have lasted a little bit longer.
And then they put him against Brock Lesnar in one of those Saudi Arabia shows.
Yeah,
And then he got beat like in less than 1 minute.
yeah,
I'm sure he got paid a lot of money for that match, and that's great. But bro, they could have given him a lot more than that. Come on.
I know, but I think the one that really just bugs me was that title reign that he had. Just well, how long he had that U.S. title? What for a month?
For 3 weeks, and yeah, we're gonna actually get into
3
2000.
weeks?
Yes, and we're actually gonna get into 2019 a little later because I have a kind of a question for you about like certain shitty years in WWE, and that year is gonna be
Yeah,
mentioned.
can't believe it's been 5 years.
Yeah, but he was doing great in NXT. He was fucking killing it in NXT actually. And then the first
Oh
few months he
yeah,
was in the main roster, he wasn't doing bad. But then after they had him lose that US title to AJ Styles, like right after he won it, it was very downhill for a long time up until I would say he got the IC
mm,
title. When he had that IC title for that brief period, and then ever since Triple H has taken over, he's been used more consistently. But overall,
yeah,
like from what people who have been watching Ricochet from his like pre WWE days have said, what you see of Ricochet in WWE is like 65% of what he can do.
yeah.
Yeah, it sucks to see him leave. I know his fiance works there, and he was definitely a great part of the show whenever they would put him on the show. But if he feels like he can get the same amount of money, if not more money, doing it on his own terms, like doing independent stuff, and possibly having a showdown with Will Ospreay in AEW, then I support him 100%.
I support whatever decision that he makes. You know, he's probably doing what's best for him. You know, whatever it is that's um financially or just schedule wise. Just we'll have to support his decision, whatever that he does.
Yeah, and if his contract is up like that soon, like before August, it could be possible that he could be on All In at Wembley Stadium against Will Ospreay. That could happen.
Hmm. Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Mm.
And speaking of AEW, it actually came out that MJF is supposedly making $15 million a year on his contract with them.
How much again?
$15 million a year.
Ooh.
Fucking A, son. That Jacksonville Jaguars money is no joke.
Sheesh.
Yeah, more power to him. If you can get that money, then fuck it. Get that money, bro. Get it, get it, get it.
Right.
So what did you think of Sexy Red at Battleground over the weekend?
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it was very weird seeing her there. A lot of people on the comment section were not very kind about seeing Sexy Red.
We're on the YouTube or just on social media or
Just in general, like she definitely has her fan base. She definitely has her popularity. You can't dispute that about her. But girls like her and Ice Spice, they definitely have, in the grand scheme of things, a lot more detractors and I feel like supporters in the long run. I feel like 5 years from now, I'm not sure if they're gonna really be as relevant.
I doubt it as far as their popularity because look at Nicki Minaj, look at
Cardi
Cardi
B.
B. um they look at their popularity. These women were popular for damn near what 10 years. almost. You know what I mean?
Megan Thee Stallion and Doja Cat, you have to throw in
Yeah,
there too. They've definitely been very
yeah,
consistent.
you know what I mean? So I don't see them going anywhere. It's just again, I just don't really like their music. I don't care for it. Um
Hey John, you think you the shit? You ain't even a fart. You think you the
see
shit?
that nah, see,
You
I
ain't
don't
even a
that
fart.
that stuff is so stupid.
It's so
That
bad.
crap is
That's
so
so
stupid. It's
bad.
so whack and dumb. Like just the creativity on that is just I just cringe. It's making my head hurt.
Look, I can see why you're turned off by them, especially Sexy Red. Like from watching her on that NXT show, I could definitely see how like she's not your cup of tea.
It's
She
it's
just feels like
just
a
people.
gimmick. She feels like a gimmick.
It's
She
just
feels like a
people
gimmick.
talk like that is just a turn off for me, man. It's like, look, if she was like just being real with herself and just not saying that stuff and not coming off in that way, then it would have been different. But again, it's just most modern female rappers are just like, no, I'm not. I'm not feeling it. You're just rapping about the same stuff.
Yeah, rapping about the same stuff, promoting the same stuff, and yeah, they're basically like I said in that verse today, clones of each other.
Just like, come on, you gotta say something like just be real from your heart, man. I've said this before in our previous episodes. Like they feel like they gotta say and just do the other stuff what because the men are doing it. Even the men, even these rappers now, I'm just like, no, I'm not feeling it. I'm just this is not real.
Yeah, it's basically just music to dumb people down. It's not music that will
Lift you up.
or really do anything long term. It's just music to pacify them for
And
that moment.
you know what? And you know what was sad because when you sent me that link about when Method Man was performing at a New York music
Summer Jam, Summer
yeah,
Jam.
right? I was reading that and then, the reaction was just no reaction to it. Zero reaction to his music. And I'm like, where has this world come to, man? Of all places, New York. You would think everybody would, will jam to Method Man. That's come on, it's Wu Tang Clan. Like, come on, how do you not know who that is? And he flat out says, like, I can't do this no more. Like, how are you not like? I don't blame him for saying that, man. It's very like sad and disturbing, man. It's kind of like, dude, like, how can you not? It's one thing when it comes to like our parents' music. You know what I mean? To most of it when we were younger. You know what I mean? As we gotten older, we've, loved our parents' music. You know what I mean? Like Sade is like for you, you know what I mean? Because your mom, right? But
And even before that, not even just Sade, like Cool and the Gang I fucks with,
but
the
like
Temptations I
when it
fucks with,
comes
Marvin Gaye I fucks
like
with.
yeah, like when it comes to most of like the like the R&B music, we're kind of like when we're younger. Oh, but that's understandable, But when it comes to hip hop, how the hell are you not knowledgeable about that music? I know that people are younger and all that stuff, but like, how do you not know? It just baffles me. Like, how do you not know, man? Like, how?
Yeah, that generation gap is real, bro. I mean, I don't like it either, but yeah, that generation gap is real. You have to think about it. A lot of these kids now, they were born like years after Tupac and Biggie died. They were like born in what, like 2002, 2003, whatever year it was.
Lord.
Yeah,
And you know what other
that
another
generation gap.
thing when it comes, you go back to the wrestling. Like I'll look at posts and stuff on social media how like a lot of people say, "Oh, these are like my top 5 favorite WrestleMania themes," and these were themes from the past like 5-10 years, and there was just like bunch of like pop songs. I was like, oh Lord, if only this person knew how good the themes were 20 plus years ago. I was like, Jesus. I was like, oh my God. I was like I already knew like, yeah, this person's young.
Yeah, bees like that. But looks like they
Yeah,
had a fun time with Sexy Red there. I saw her like dancing with Shawn Michaels and yeah, dancing with the other girls and all that jazz. Yeah, and she was
uh,
with Trick Williams after he won the main event. But yeah, crazy that like the day before, that Saturday before, Sexy Red actually got arrested for like an altercation at the airport.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, her and her group of friends got into this big ass brawl with this other group of people. They got like surveillance footage of it that I saw actually earlier from TMZ, and yeah, she was pretty much in the middle of it. Like initially, people thought that she wasn't involved, but she was actually in the middle of it too.
No God. Oh,
Yeah,
like I
what a
said, it doesn't
mess.
surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like about this generation of artists in many ways is that I felt like, hip hop and music was kind of a way for like, the people who got into it to like stay out of trouble. And now it just feels like a lot of the people now, they're just in it to even get into the same trouble or get into even more trouble.
Mm, I don't know. You felt like hip hop really kind of like got people out of trouble back then.
In the early days of hip hop, that's kind of what it was based on. Like for the people in the neighborhood, instead of doing street shit, getting into trouble, doing shit that they shouldn't be doing, they would rap at a show, they would break dance at a show, they would do graffiti, they would be doing productive stuff. They wouldn't be
Oh, you're
doing
talking like the
negative
early,
street
like the
shit.
early, early. Okay,
Exactly,
like
that's what
the
I
early,
mean.
early,
Yeah, that's what
early.
I mean.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, hip hop
Okay,
was a way for people in the neighborhood to stay out of trouble.
okay.
Yeah, like instead of not having anything to do, instead of doing knucklehead shit, you work on some music. Yeah, you work on some breakdancing skills. You do some graffiti, what DJ, whatever the fuck. Yeah, you're just doing that shit instead of doing negative, toxic shit.
I feel you.
All right, but let's get into that Who Killed WCW docuseries that dropped on Vice last week. I watched the first two episodes.
Ooh.
It's pretty much mostly stuff we already know. We've heard these stories 1,000 times, but it is nice to get it from like a non WWE produced perspective, and also it's nice to hear them curse
Hmm.
and kind of shit on each other. Where like they'll show one clip of like Bret Hart shitting on Bill Goldberg, and then in the next clip they'll show Bill Goldberg like talking back at Bret Hart. Yeah, like so things like that are kind of cool to see on it.
Wow.
But yeah, overall, like yeah, these are stories that we've known for years, but it's still entertaining. I still enjoyed it for what it was.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, they have some good interviews on there. They interview Conan, they interview Goldberg, they interview Bret Hart, they interview Kevin Nash, Booker T, The Rock.
Hmm.
Obviously, The Rock's one of the
Hmm.
producers of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like when they were like asking when like they were asking like what if they were gonna do like a eulogy for WCW, like what they would say, and then Bret Hart's response was, "Thanks for nothing. Go fuck yourselves." Yeah, Bret Hart clowns the shit out of WCW on this documentary. I mean, he has the right to. I mean, I can't really blame him. But yeah, he clowns the shit out of his experience in WCW, and also yeah, the situation with Goldberg, what happened there.
I'm surprised they didn't get Chris Jericho because I think when you think about WCW, I think Chris Jericho pretty much explains it the like just the perfect way possible. He called WCW pretty much. You're getting a I think it was like a UPS package with nothing in it because
Yeah,
you'll go over a match, but they didn't really have like the finish for it. You know what I mean? And sometimes like you will watch a match, like a mid card match, and then just NWO would just boom randomly just interrupts, and it's just a lot of just stuff that wasn't planned out,
properly.
in a direct yeah, thank you. Wasn't what just disorganized. This is the word I'm trying to say. That's the word, disorganized.
Just from watching that documentary, I could definitely tell like the real start of like the decline of WCW was that Starcade '97 main event with Sting and Hogan.
After, okay, yeah,
Yeah, from
after, yeah.
that point on, that's like when you started to see the cracks. Like after that happened, they debuted that WCW Thunder show, and that was like a lot more content that they would have to produce every week, and a lot more of a workload for the talent, and the storylines weren't going to be as fresh
I
with
like
that second
Thunder.
show.
I mean, growing up, I like Thunder. I like the name of it. I love the stage. I mean, I like the just the whole presentation of it.
Yeah, I liked it back then too, but apparently, like nobody even wanted to be on that show. They always thought it was a joke.
I mean, how? Because like before that, they had two shows. I mean, they always had Saturday night, and then and then you had Nitro. So that was like two shows that you had. But Saturday night was, it wasn't like it was kind of like a Sunday night heat, I think, where it was just you pretty much just had your mid carders on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the most
And
part, it was their flagship show up until Nitro came along.
yeah,
Just like Superstars was WWE's flagship show up until Raw came along.
mm-hmm, yeah. I never had a problem with Thunder. You know what I mean? It was on a Thursday, right?
It was Thursdays, but then towards the end it was Wednesdays. Well they moved it to Wednesdays after SmackDown debuted.
Got you.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Thunder was a problem because they were gonna have to do more content every week, and also they added another hour to Nitro, so that's 3 hours of Nitro as opposed to 2 hours. And
Holy
then
crap! I did not. When did they hit 3 hours?
they started doing 3 hour shows. I think like at the end of '97, beginning of '98. Yeah, that period.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
yeah, Nitro.
Here we are complaining about how Raw was 3 hours. I never knew Nitro was 3 hours.
Yeah, Nitro was 3 hours pretty much from like the end of '97 to early '98 to the end.
Wow.
It wasn't great for most of those, but yeah, it was still 3 hours. And
Jeez.
and they talk about the rise of Goldberg, but they also really get into how much he sucked in the ring and how inexperienced he was.
Hmm.
But even despite the fact that he wasn't that good in the ring, the run he had for that 1 year was insane. And
Yeah.
especially that Nitro where he beats Hogan for the title in the Georgia Dome. Holy shit, man. I'll never forget watching that shit live the night it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was as high as WCW went, I think, was that moment.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because even though 98, you could see the cracks in WCW, they were still doing great business and there was still good shit about it in 98.
True. So, what do you think? What killed WCW? You think it was just like an internal thing, or just it was just you know, um, pretty much just ownership, pretty much.
All the above. I think everything played a role in it from, yeah, mismanagement, talent having creative control, the network
Mm.
executives not even wanting wrestling on the network in the first place.
Whoa, that's a wow, that's a huge take right there. Because you got to remember, Ted Turner was the one who wanted.
Yeah,
Ted Turner
Ted
was the one
Turner.
who got WCW. So that's a wow.
Yeah, Ted Turner liked it, but the other executives didn't like it. But since Ted Turner's vote held the most weight, that's why it stayed on for as long as it did. But then eventually Ted Turner kind of got pushed out of power or lost the amount of power that he did have, and he couldn't really save them at that point.
Mm,
Yeah, from that merger. Yeah, when that merger happened, he didn't have that same power. Kind of like similar to Vince now with the UFC and WWE merger. He didn't have the same power anymore, and now he pretty much has no power.
right, right, right. Hmm.
Yeah, all of that stuff combined. And even Ric Flair said in a tweet, even though he went back to apologize for it, that the three main people who killed WCW were Jim Herd, Eric Bischoff, and Vince Russo. And he says that because he worked under all three of them. And he could definitely tell under all three of them, it was just not going to be a success.
Hmm.
But I will give Eric Bischoff credit. Eric Bischoff, even though, it fell off hard like in those later years, like especially in 99, in that 96, 97 period, he was making a lot of good moves. And just getting Nitro on in the first place to compete with Raw and the NWO angle and the Goldberg stuff and the Sting stuff when he would come from the Raptors, that shit was dope. He deserves credit for that. Even if they
Hmm.
fell off as hard as they did afterwards, for that time they were hot, you got to give the devil his due.
Well, yeah, because they're being very creative at that time. So,
Yeah, so today's episode was basically about the Goldberg run and then how that ended when they ended the streak prematurely, and then how they said they wanted Goldberg to chase the title because there would be more money in it, and how they
mm,
brought the NWO back together so that Goldberg would have to go through all of them. But the thing is, Goldberg barely even worked with them in those months afterwards.
and yeah, you said there's 2 episodes out right now, right?
2 episodes, there's two more. The net one next week is gonna be about Mr. Bro, WCW Bro. It went out of business because of mismanagement and talent egos, bro. Talent had creative control, and because of their creative control, the inmates ran the asylum. There was nothing that I could do, there's nothing that Eric Bischoff could do to stop WCW from sinking like the Titanic, bro.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, he is talking about Vince Russo. So yeah, they thought bringing Vince Russo in 2000 was going to make changes and really bring back that nostalgia of the Monday Night Wars, but it didn't. So
Yeah, and Vince Russo just got worse. Like when Vince Russo was running WCW was just embarrassing. That was by far the worst I had ever seen WCW in the years I was watching it.
man. Yeah, I definitely got to check that out. I kind of forgot that they it came out though, so thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, you can find both episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have Hulu, the Vices on Hulu too. I could watch it on there. So
Nah, but right now they're on YouTube.
okay, oh, that's no big deal.
But speaking of shitty ass years of wrestling and shitty ass times of wrestling, I have a question for you.
Mm,
What was the worst 3 year stretch of WWE's product between the years 1993 to 1995, the years 2009 to 2011,
mm.
or the years 2017 to 2019?
Ooh, those are some good ones, boy. Those are good ones. Wow. Okay, I- I'm gonna go like a business wise, financially wise. 93 through 95, they were hurting bad. Look, I have to give some credit. I mean, 94 wasn't really that bad of a year. Um, you said a second one was '09 through 2011, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
those years sucked too. Yeah, those years. I
yeah,
wasn't even watching for most of
that's
those years, but those.
and it's funny. That's funny because that's when I stopped watching it.
Yeah, but looking back at the stuff they were doing,
I can't go back to it. I can't go back to that crap because you remember what they were doing, dude. I think I told you this before. They were doing the whole, you know, special celebrity guests every Monday night, and I thought that was just like, oh my god, like what is like, dude? I was like saying to myself, like, dude, thank God I stopped watching this, man. It was just, it was cringe, dude.
yeah, those years were trash. I wasn't even watching at the time, but those years were trash. Those years were trash.
Why do you think myself and everybody else was so happy that CM Punk did the pipe bomb?
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. That definitely was needed
You
at
know,
that point.
that was like a shot in the arm that he needed.
Yeah, and 93 to 95, yeah, business was bad at the time. It still sucked, especially 93 and 95, but there was still some good in those years. Like even 94 parts of it I enjoy.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with '93. Okay, you're coming off the heels from Hogan. You're distancing from the whole '80s era. You know what I mean? Bret Hart is your potential guy, the face of the company. So you're kind of like in a transitional period in a way. You know what I mean? That's what I saw it as. You know, trying to find your own identity at that time. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to um, justify the whole weirdness of what they were doing at the time. You know what I mean? But that's pretty much the whole period was. Like I said, '94 was their best year.
Out of those 3 years, yes, and then 95 was just the shits.
Oh God! Like I was reading. I was pretty much. I was There's this page that I follow, and I think today was the anniversary of the '95 King of the Ring, and I read the reviews. They were saying it was the worst
Oh,
pay per
wait a
view of
minute.
'95.
King of the Ring 95 was on the 25th of June. The anniversary for that one won't be for like another 2 weeks.
Okay, but I don't know. But I don't know. I think they're just doing a review on it, and I was reading about it, but they're pretty much just saying that was like the worst event of '95.
Yeah, 95 just had awful gimmicks. The bad guys they had weren't very credible,
Yeah.
and just the whole vibe and temperature of the show was just whack as fuck. I was a new fan at the time, so I didn't think anything of it. I still enjoyed it for what it was
Yeah.
back then. But when I go back
Yeah.
and watch it now, I'm like, yo, this shit is mad whack.
Yeah. And so we haven't really talked about anything from 2017 to 2019.
Oh, I can't wait to get into these years.
Yeah. Like, okay, like I kind of felt I could definitely sense the vibe was starting to like go down just a tad bit, a little bit around that time. Don't get me wrong, there were, a handful of feuds that were like, oh, you know what I mean? And like I love the Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar feud.
Yeah, that
But
was pretty good.
there's just certain things that I look back on, just there really isn't like a whole lot of I look back at that year. I'm just like, oh, you know what I mean? We're just like the
I would
Chris
say,
Jericho Kevin Owens feud was a good part of 2017.
yeah, the early part of the
Just
year.
yeah. And it's funny. I actually did went an event. I went to an event during that time period. I went to 2018 Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I went to that show too. That was actually around the time we met. Yeah, we met around that time.
Yeah, like around the time we met. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
2018 was also not the greatest. That's like when they first started the Saudi Arabia shows, and Raw was just god awful. That's like when they were
it
doing
just
the Constable Corbin storyline, where Baron Corbin was like the authority figure,
yeah,
and then that was like Brock Lesnar's like never-ending title reign when he was like barely on the show.
yeah. And even of course, Roman wasn't, kind of to a fan's point of view, it just felt like Roman was just shoved down our throats. And
Yeah, the Roman shit wasn't clicking, and then at the end of 2018, they had those awful segments with Dean Ambrose, like when he was getting like a vaccine in his ass
yeah,
to like keep away from the fans' germs. That bullshit that like pretty much made him want to leave the company
yeah.
altogether. Yeah, all that crap.
But let's
And
not.
then
I think the biggest negative when it came to that time period was of course the WrestleManias. Just way too long, dude. Jeez, my way too long.
yeah, those WrestleManias are definitely not ones I look back on fondly. There was like a real like bad
Oh,
few year stretch where like the WrestleManias were not delivering. They would have like one or two good moments, but overall they just were not
just the show
shows I
were
would go
just
back and
too
watch.
long, dude. Like I look back at that era and I kind of just like, oh man. And outside of WrestleMania, there's not like a show where I could like look back on or like a pay per view. I'm like, you know what? If I had to rewatch a pay per view, I'll watch that one. You know what I mean? There wasn't really like I don't know. Like, okay, maybe in 2019 there were a couple of shows where I was like, you know what, that was pretty decent. You know what I mean? Oh my god, I just felt like it was just like a bad time, dude. Oh wow,
But I would say 2019 was probably the worst of those 3 years because I
really?
remember that's like when they had the yeah 2019 was bad, man. 2019 was horrible,
Mm,
especially after WrestleMania. That's like to the point where I was like not even watching the show period for a couple weeks. Like there was like one point like around this time actually 5 years ago, like in the middle of June, where I said like you know what, fuck this, I am not watching either one of these shows. Like for like a good almost month or so, I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown. I was so turned off by all of it. It sucked so badly that I said, fuck this. I'm not watching these shows anymore. That was even the point when they got Eric Bischoff and Heyman to run Raw and SmackDown for a brief period. And like
oh
Eric
wow,
Bischoff like lasted what like 4 months.
I remember that. I remember that.
And like they had that one Usi hot segment when the Usos like put some like itching powder into like FDR's like clothes and they were like itching all over the place. Yeah, like I would say from 2017 to 2019, those years are the biggest examples of how horrible Vince McMahon's creative ideas had become as the years went on. If there's like any 3 year stretch that would define how badly and how much his ideas sucked and why it's such a great thing that he's gone now, it is those 3 years, 2017 to 2019. So I will say that those 3 years were the worst ones just because of how poor the quality of the
The
product was.
creativity, yeah.
Yeah, how turned off it made a lot of us. And just the fact that I had to live through it compared to the other two 3 year stretches I mentioned.
Mm. It's a tough one between 2019 and 2011, and then of course 2017 and 2019. Like, look, like I wasn't watching anything period from the first option. Like I said, it was just the creativity from 29 2017 to 2019, where it's just like I was watching it, but I felt like not as motivated at times. You know what I mean? Luckily I only went to one show, but like there was other shows. There were times where when Raw and SmackDown would come, I didn't have that motivation to go. Like I remember when SmackDown with the Fox. I remember they were in Vegas. I didn't go because I mean I was out of town for a wedding. I remember that, but still, like I
Oh
didn't.
yeah, yeah, and let's get into that. Yeah, that end of 2019 period of SmackDown was horrible too. That like Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns feud, like over the dog food, and they had
Yeah.
like the Roman Reigns like dog mascot come out. Yo, that was so garbage, bro. And also, let's not forget about 2019, the biggest black eye on 2019, the Hell in a Cell Seth Rollins and Fiend match. That
Oh,
bullshit.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, that 2019 year, that year is like the one year that would just make me want to spit in Vince McMahon's face and just say "fuck you, bro."
Oh man.
Yeah, it's those years, especially 2019, that I'm happy that he's gone and gone in disgrace.
Like seriously, like could we at least name like a it and it's okay if we can't, but could we like name like an actual good pay-per-view event from that year?
Well, I know you like that Survivor Series from that year with the NXT invasion stuff.
In Chicago, right? That was in Chicago, right?
Yeah, that was a good show. Yeah, that show was
Love that.
fun.
Okay. Yeah, I love that show because NXT was involved. Love that show. Oh my god. That's
Yeah,
like one of the ones that I need to rewatch again. Yeah.
yeah, but
Um
that's one of the few good things about that whole year. But like I said, that 2017 to 2019 period, yeah, I will definitely say that's like the three worst year stretch of WWE where it got to that point in 2019 where it was like challenging me to even stay watching it.
yeah. I have to go with option C. Yeah, yeah. The third one, this 2017 through 2019. It was just I don't know, god. A part of me wants to pick the second one because it's just like I just felt like okay, here's the issue that I had with the second option with which was '09 through 2011. Talent wise, you still had your good list of talent. You still had your core guys. You still had of course you had, John Cena, you had, Taker, you had Triple H, you had Edge, Jericho. Um you had your core guys. Batista in there just for a little bit. But the problem that I had was just it was their creativity. They had went from a TV 14 program to a now family oriented, TV PG programming. And just how the way they were doing things was just I wasn't feeling it. We could go back, like, was there a couple of good things out of it? Yeah. Um Everybody to this day raves about Orton from '09. That was like this best version as a heel. 2009 Randy Orton was just top tier. Okay. I loved the John Cena Edge rivalry came to an end. Loved it. I love their last man standing match. Um, them bringing back DX was not. It was just oh man, it was just it was just kind of cringe. It was just like oh man, like you're bringing DX in a PG era, just like what nah, what not smart man.
And the Raw guest host bullshit too.
In 2010, yeah. I wasn't watching it, but when I was hearing about it, I was just like, thank God I'm not watching this stuff no more, man.
Yeah, just the temperature and the vibe of the show just got really bad in those years.
It-
Yeah, I can see why you would have
Batista
wanted to.
left. Batista left because of the direction of the company.
Also, Sean retired. Undertaker and Triple H like semi-retired. Yeah, that
Yeah.
2010 period was also a downtime. Other than that Nexus debut that they had on Raw that one night, that was a big deal. yeah, most of 2010 wasn't really memorable.
I really didn't care about Nexus. I didn't care. I was just like, what the hell is this?
And then 2011, yeah, we had the return of The Rock. That was great. And then the pipe bomb from CM Punk, which led to the great match and feud with Cena. And then the Randy Orton and Christian feud was good too. But other than that, yeah, I don't really have that much good to say about 2011.
I really don't. And then like that's when they started to do like the whole like gimmick shows. That's where it all started from. Like that's why it was just so weird. Like that year you had, oh, just name a pay-per-view Hell in a Cell. And I'm like, what?
That was
And
2009. That
every
was
year
2009.
I know, but that's where it started from. That's why from that point on up until, freaking 2020 or whatever, right? You started to have it was like every month Hell in a Cell. They'll just random Hell in a Cell match where it
Yeah,
was
like I felt like it
meant
wasn't
to be
necessary.
where it was meant to be a special build up storyline between two people that hate each other. But no, they decided, oh yeah, we're gonna just do a Hell in a Cell pay per view and just put two people in there that had a match a month ago. I'm like, what? Where's the build up? You know? Oh, we're
Exactly.
gonna have a pay per view called Bragging Rights. I'm like, we're gonna have it was just it was the creativity behind it, man. It makes me cringe. It makes me like I can't watch anything from I would rather watch some stuff from '09. Like, okay, I could go back and watch like Royal Rumble, Mania, maybe like Backlash, definitely I'll go back to, but anything after that, I cannot go back and watch that stuff. It makes me cringe. I can't do it. 2010, like I won't watch it. Like maybe I'll watch WrestleMania 26. But other than that, like I'm not gonna watch it. 2011, I'll watch Money in the Bank. I'll maybe watch maybe SummerSlam. Survivor Series I'll definitely watch. But other than that, dude, I can't. It cringes me, dude. That's the reason why I stopped watching it. Now that I think about it, that's the one I think that was like the worst part for me. That '09 through 2011 period. I hated the fact how, oh, let's go to family oriented programming. Let's be little ooh, I hated it. There's nothing from that era that I makes me want to say like, oh, it was no, like I stopped watching wrestling because of that. And there were certain storylines that I saw from that era where I was like, okay, I already saw this. Why are you doing it again?
Yeah, just a shitty time. All three of those examples we brought up, yeah, just horrible times for WWE. Definitely made you question whether or not you should still even watch it. But
Yeah.
sticking through those bad times, sticking through those shitty times of their product, made the good times that came after it worth it.
Like now, thank
Yeah.
God. Like now it's just like, oh, this is so good.
Like as hard as it was to go through those really crappy years of Vince, I'm happy that we're getting what we're getting now.
Dude, I'm telling you right now because like I kid you not, Kurt. Pretty much I think it was like around the time of 2010 and 2011, right? I said to myself, two things. Number one, I said like, man, I never thought I would stop watching wrestling, right? And number two, I said to myself like, would I ever like get back into it? And I never imagined about a couple years later, 2012, I'll get back into it, and then about almost 10 years later, you're going to WrestleMania. You know what I mean? I thought I was just done with wrestling. I thought I was done. You know, and here I am. I'm already went to my very first WrestleMania a year ago, and now a year, next year, Lord willing, I'm gonna go to another one. So I never thought that that would happen. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Got to go through a dark day to have light. You know what I mean? So, um, it's just yeah, I'm actually happy how the business is now. But man, just when I look back at that stuff, man, it's just oh, I cringe, dude. It's just like oh, like ooh, can't
All
do
right, all
it.
right, all right. I think we've kind of touched enough on how trash these
Yeah.
years were, but definitely was worth it for the good times we have now to go through those really shitty years.
Hmm.
Because yeah, wrestling does have its up and
Hmm.
downs, does have its shitty parts, but
Yeah.
the parts that are good, the parts that really hit you in that special place, definitely make it worth it.
I wish the music could do that.
Hey, there's still hope. We got rid of Vince a few years ago. Anything is possible, man.
Right. Thank you. That's hope right
All
there,
right,
dude.
but we have Clash of the Castle this coming Saturday. We have the NBA Finals, if anybody even cares about that. And yes, many more crazy
And the
things
Stanley
happening
Cup
in the
final
sporting
too.
world.
Stanley Cup final.
Yes, the Stanley Cup Finals also.
Florida is up 2-0, Kurt.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I did hear about that.
Sheesh. I'm picking him to win though, but still.
Yeah, but crazy shit going on in this world of wrestling, and we are here to break it all down for you and our takes on all of it because it makes us a little crazy sometimes too. But it's all good, it's all love. Until next time, for John Randall, this is Conscious Kurt for another edition of the Clash of the Champions. Take care, enjoy your weekend, and remember, do not be an asshole or a douchebag like Logan Paul in real life or social media because that shit is for the
It's for
birds.
the birds. And ladies and gentlemen, be safe. Ladies and gentlemen, take care. God bless and
Oh,
always. What?
Oh, I just saw like online like an hour ago. There's a picture of Logan Paul and Donald Trump together.
Ah, Salah, who cares?
Douchebag fuckery.
Yeah, who cares? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, take care. God bless and always be cool.